Hey guys, it's Mountain Walk, and today we're going to be talking a little bit about reprints and top 10 cards that need a reprint. So, obviously we're not going to be doing any reserve list stuff, so unfortunately Grim Monolith, Lion's Eye Diamond, cool stuff like that, dual lands obviously, those can't be reprinted because of the reserve list, which sucks and should be undone, but hey, what are you gonna do, right? Uh, so outside of, some sea change and Wizards policies, we won't be able to see anything like that. Which is unfortunate because a lot of those cards are really important for Legacy and Vintage and sometimes even like Commander. So, um, or even could be good cards for stuff like, say, for example, like Null Rod and something like Modern or whatnot. So, whatever is what it is. But let's get on to the list. Well, let's start with the honorable mentions first. All these guys basically can be uh, grouped together as the super unfun cards that make your opponent's life miserable, whether they were seen play back in the day in stacks, lists, and vintage, or currently like say Sphere of Resistance and Trinisphere and stuff like in sideboards or main decks and things like that. These cards do a lot of good stuff in making everyone's life miserable. So yeah, there are some issues like these cards probably will never ever be reprinted into standard because a lot of times mostly Tangle Wire specifically, which is not really symmetrical and is pretty easy to play in decks and pretty miserable to play against. I guess all of these cards are, but at least they are somewhat symmetrical. But it's easy to break the symmetry because you just play more lands or something in the case of Sphere of Resistance and Trinisphere, or in case of Smokestack, just play mono permanents. Excuse me, not Tanglewire, but Lotus Petal is also another nice one that sees a lot of play all over the place. Would be nice, um, and it also sees play in things like like the Commander and Commander, of course. Some of the artifact decks. So that'd be kind of nice. Yeah, so I'm thinking like overall, what's good for like a lot of the eternal formats, maybe stuff like modern things like that. They could use some reprints. But let's get started with number 10. All right, this is one that's basically just more or less a commander card. Uh, I guess you could play this in, say, like a singleton sort of list, in or at least near a singleton in constructed, but that'd be kind of tough. But this is mostly just a commander card, and it's never been reprinted. Uh, Very sad, but it doesn't see like a ton of play a lot of the time, just because unless you're looking for like one specific card or something, it's not usually worth it to try and scalp a bunch of your deck. But it is pretty good. It's kind of I kind of look at more of like a as like a black cantrip, where I just hit take the first good card or whatever that I exile. So, but yeah, this would be kind of a nice card to see reprinted, um, and it's you gotta work a little bit to, well, maybe not in Commander. Maybe you change up your lands or something. Run some snow covered lands or whatever. So it's basically impossible to fizzle. Um, but yeah, it'd be kind of nice. Kind of nice. It's kind of a cool card. So let's see some Tainted Pact in the newest like Commander sets, right? That'd be sweet. Okay, now we got Thorn of Amethyst. This card sees a lot of play in a lot of like decks that are just basically mono creatures. Goblins oftentimes play this, things like that, because they can play it and not have to deal with the drawback. This is good in Eldrazi, like the more smaller Eldrazi lists. This card has not been reprinted off the top of my head, just in Lorwyn. Um, so yeah, this would be pretty sweet. I think it's probably won't, since this video obviously don't want to like focus too much on prices, but I think this thing was like 10 to 15 last time I checked. Um, but yeah, this card hard to find, kind of annoying. Uh, Only in Lorwyn, so yeah, it'd be nice to get a reprint of this guy. Obviously does the Lord's work in punishing those nasty spell-based decks. All you want to do is just play your tentacle monsters. Come on, what's wrong with that? Okay, now we got another card. This is more of a commander thing. Not really so much a constructed card anymore for, because of land tax and scroll rack was a big combo, but that's not particularly that relevant anymore in most formats. So this is more or less just a card where you want to play to be able to, if you want to stack your deck, like the reveal X cards from top of your library, do X, Y, Z, say something like Genesis Wave, very good in Gishath, because, well, you put all your dinosaurs that you drew on top of your library, and you get all your like spells and stuff back into your hand. So that's pretty cool, pretty cool. So it's good for stacking your deck. Pretty sweet there. Does a lot of good stuff. Good with artifact synergies. Good things to get back into your deck if you want to tutor them out. Think of like Natural Order or something like that. Pretty sweet. So a reusable sort of brainstorm dream cache kind of effect, which is nice. It's really great. Card's way too expensive. It was reprinted in the I think it was a masterpiece and like the Kaladesh stuff, a masterpiece. So this would be kind of nice to get back. Pretty sweet. So yeah, let's get some scroll rack. Not a ton of play, but would be nice. Okay, and again, more cards that have not been reprinted, which seems kind of crazy. Idyllic Tutor, you would think, would be something that would have been in one of the commander decks, like the Astrid, like Enchantress commander deck. Um, that would have been really good there. Same thing with Sterling Grove. Both these cards not been reprinted at all. It seems like there's been a lot of opportunities for it, but nope. Oh, pretty unlikely would ever see them in like standard because these are pretty strong effects, and they tend to not print tutors in general, even if they're narrow. But yeah, Sterling Grove, pretty strong, pretty sweet, really good in obviously any sort of Enchantress deck, be it like in Legacy or whatnot, or just in Commander. Been really sweet there. Same thing with Idyllic Tutor. These are sweet cards, and would be really nice to have because they're so good. But and helps out those Enchantress decks, which are fun and sweet. We need more cool stuff like that. But yeah, they haven't been reprinted. Pretty crazy, pretty crazy. It seems like someone just overlooked them a couple times because there's definitely a couple places where they could have fit, but maybe in the future that would be nice. But that's okay. So these cards are pretty highly played, and would be really sweet if you can get them back in Commander. More access to these cards. Maybe make them a bit cheaper. That'd be nice. All right, so this is definitely a big Legacy, Vintage, and Commander card. I love this card. It's pretty sweet. It's great in Commander when I want to get my utility lands, um, or I guess you can use it for mana fixing, but it's basically there to get utility lands. It's also good for being able to like get instant speed access to Bojuka Bog. That's a big one, and that's something that's not good just in Commander, but also in Legacy and Vintage. This sees play as four ofs and the depths decks as well as the lands decks, um, and both formats. So yeah, both Legacy and Vintage. So this card's pretty sweet. I think it's reprinted once in the Garuk dual deck thing. But yeah, this is definitely a card that sees a lot of play. Um, and it would be nice to be able to get more access to that. Like a foil new bordered version would be kind of cool. But yeah, this is a sweet card. Uh, not a lot of these cards are tutors, and they're just unlikely to ever be printed in standard. I mean, it's not like you really want like Tron decks with even more access to their uh, Tron lands or something like that, which is just ridiculous. And this even like lets you respond to like graveyard or not, excuse me, not graveyard hate, but land hate, like Field of Ruin or something. So this seems like not a card they really want in modern. Probably don't want too many more tutors in there. But this is such a sweet card for Commander, Legacy, and Vintage that it would be nice to have more. And let's get a nice foil printing. Um, well, I guess there is a foil printing, but a foil old border. Foil new border printing is what we want. All right. This guy also reprinted once, I believe, in a dual deck. But this guy is pretty popular in like the crab vine decks in modern, and of course the actual Hogak decks in Legacy. Pretty sweet there. It does all sorts of cool stuff like, well, being a grave crawler and being awesome. So yeah, this card, yeah, definitely needs a reprint. Pretty sweet. Obviously, again, all sorts of things in Commander, like any sacrifice style decks or any zombie style decks or graveyard recursion decks. A lot of them really like something like Grave Crawler's card sweet to sacrifice the Goblin Bombardment or to put a Skull Clamp on or just any number of things. So this card, super cool, super duper cool. Definitely, we need more copies of it because it's just, you know, too hard to find, too expensive. Not gonna break the bank, but it's definitely something you'd want more of. So yeah, this card is sweet. Seeing a lot of play recently, and will only get more valuable as they release more ridiculous like graveyard stuff, or of course any zombie synergies. So yeah, Gravecrawler definitely a good sweet card that pretty much needs to be needs more copies in all formats. All right, so this is basically just for Commander. They're not super expensive, but it would be nice to get strip mine reprints. This is like was in like a From the Vault and was also in like the Zendikar expeditions. But I mean those aren't. I mean they're cool. They're cool and they have interesting art like the weird Eldrazi strip mine thing, which is cool looking. But it doesn't really do a ton for getting more copies out there. So it would be nice if there was like some sort of like a like an Eternal Masters or whatever. This one was strip mine, probably I guess at rare. I mean, I don't know exactly what they're for like drafting. Like if you're drafting the set, would you want it rare or mythic? I mean, this kind of effect is not something they've really ever had in a draft format at rare or just in general. Strip mine's obviously pretty broken. It's pretty unfun just being cut off even just one land, any land, is pretty brutal. Whereas obviously Wasteland isn't particularly good in the draft, whereas Strip Mine might cause some issues. So maybe this could be have to be in somewhere else. Maybe some of the dual decks or something could be a rare. That'd be kind of nice. Because a lot of times you just put it in, it's just as like a Wasteland, but Wasteland's a little more expensive because obviously it sees a bunch of play in Vintage and Legacy and so on. So strip mine is typically just used to cut people off uh, just non-basic lands. Typically, I mean you can use it, like with infinite, recursion things with like Crucible or whatever to cut people off mana. But unless you have like some sort of exploration style effect where you can play multiples, it's sort of hard to lock out like a bunch of people with strip mine. So yeah, this would be nice. Would like to be able to put this in my decks. I don't think it's too big of a deal. Like I said, it's not that much different from Wasteland because most of the time you're just hitting non-basics anyways. But it is a little cheaper. So if we got an even cheaper strip mine, that'd be even better. But some of that role is fulfilled by Field of Ruin, but that's okay. Let's get another effect of these. It's definitely pretty sweet. And I just love casting strip mine. You can't do that in basically any format that you can reasonably play other than Commander. So let's start strip mining. Okay, again another really powerful Commander card. This card is in tons of infinite combos, infinite mana combos, even just doubling up on the activate abilities just once or whatever is good. This card was reprinted once in I think it's part of the Kaladesh like expeditions, Kaladesh masterpieces. So that was cool, had cool art there. But this is a sweet card, and definitely is like pretty much my idea of like what is a really sweet commander card. Rings of Bright Hearth, which doesn't really see play anywhere, but you can do so much cool stuff with it. All sorts of activated abilities, even just like doubling up on fetch land activations, pretty sweet. All sorts of stuff. I love Rings of Bright Hearth. That's a sweet card. So yeah, not much to say here. Not enough in circulation. Let's get more. It's been a long time since Lorwyn, so we need more Rings of Bright Hearth. This would be good in like the Commander Legends thing that's coming out. This would be a good card to put it rare or something. So that'd be pretty sweet. All right, this is one of the most played green creatures in Commander, and one of the most powerful ones, one of the ones that I always want to put in pretty much all of my green decks, Oracle of Moldiah. This card is sweet. It even gives you extra information, so you know like what's coming up, what you can play with. Obviously ramps you. I mean, this card is so sweet, does everything. I mean, I guess it's even an elf shaman, you know, elf being the more relevant creature type, although I guess there's a few shaman related tribal synergies, but it's mostly being an elf is pretty sweet. So I like this card a lot, and it's like a gajillion dollars, and it's too hard to find. It was only in this one set. This card is awesome. It's pretty much just crazy that it hasn't been reprinted yet. I mean, this card is super sweet, so much fun to play with. Everyone loves it. I love it. Great art. Everything about it's awesome. We just need more of them. Give us more, Wizards. Give us more. But there's actually one card that I think needs a reprint more than any of these other guys. That's right, freaking Worldly Tudor. This piece of crap hasn't been reprinted except once in 6th edition. Like, that's probably a set that's opened even less than like Mirage, you know? So like they're both pretty low print run sets, you know, not a lot of people, not a lot of Mirage and stuff like that out there, you know, especially compared to today, to the number of people playing now. And yeah, this thing has never been reprinted in like a modern border after, you know, 6th edition or whatever. Like the Empiric Tutor, Enlightened Tutor, Mystical Tutor, these have been reprinted multiple times, but not Worldly Tutor, which is very, very, very strange. This card's awesome. Sees play in tons and tons of different commander decks. It's just too hard to find for something that's like so like kind of ubiquitous, you know. This card is sweet. I really want one for my Gishath deck. But the only one I have is like a beat up like Mirage one. I guess I never got a non beat up one, so this would be cool. There's the green Commander little box set thing, like the Commander Staples or whatever the heck it's called, you know, coming out 2020, I think. So yeah, this would be, it's probably got to be a lock for being in that, right? Because I mean, it doesn't make any sense. And you would get a nice foil, new bordered version of it, which would be pretty cool. Yeah, this thing is sweet. I mean, obviously, any top of the deck synergies, like obviously, I like it in Gishath, where you know you're able to, you're able to put a dinosaur on top of your library. You know, um, so that's cool. Uh, yeah, just instant speed, top deck tutor is pretty sweet. I mean, this card's great. I mean, there's not much more I really need to say about it other than why hasn't this been reprinted? Pretty crazy, right? You would think it would have been, but nope, nope. So it makes it tough to foil out your decks, you know. So we need more Worldly Tutors. Gosh dang it, give us more Worldly Tutor Wizards. So yeah, these are all the cards I think most explicitly that need reprints. Obviously, I think there could be others, but I think these ones are just they're so, you know, these ones are the most needing, you know. Obviously, I just want more stacks cards. So give me more smoke stacks, give me more sphere of resistances and stuff. At least they were printed Winter Warp, right? That's something. With sweet art too. But yeah, that's it. That's it for today, guys. So this is pretty much all the cards I want. Give me more of them. Hopefully, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of these are in new Secret Lairs or the new Commander Legends or other Commander things or new Eternal Masters-esque sets, Modern Horizon-esque sets. So yeah, I don't think we'll have to wait too long. I wouldn't be surprised if a bunch of these are in those kinds of sets this year in 2020. So that's it. That's it for today, guys. So thanks for stopping by and have a great day.